In a remote village nestled in the rugged countryside of Romania, a shadow of fear fell over the inhabitants as tales of a fearsome creature, a werewolf, spread like wildfire. Rumors spoke of a monstrous beast, half human and half wolf, stalking the moonlit nights, striking terror into the hearts of anyone who dared venture outside after dark. The village elders, concerned for the safety of their community, convened a meeting in the heart of the village square. They devised a plan to capture the werewolf, to put an end to its reign of terror and restore peace to their once tranquil lives. Men and women, armed with torches, pitchforks, and ancient silver weapons, formed a determined group, ready to confront the creature that had become the stuff of nightmares. On a moonlit night, as the villagers gathered in anxious anticipation, the forest that bordered the village seemed to hold its breath. The air was thick with tension, and a sense of impending doom hung heavily upon them. The rustling of leaves, the distant howl of a wolf, and the eerie hush of the night only intensified their fear. The group of villagers carrying their makeshift weapons ventured into the dark woods, guided only by the pale moonlight. Their footsteps echoed through the trees, a cacophony of anticipation mixed with fear. The village priest, at the forefront of the group, whispered prayers for protection, hoping to ward off the malevolent presence they were about to confront. As they delved deeper into the forest, an ominous silence settled around them. The trees, casting long, eerie shadows, seemed to hold dark secrets. Suddenly, a chilling growl pierced the stillness, causing the villagers to halt in their tracks. The growl was followed by an unsettling, guttural howl that seemed to come from all directions, surrounding them like a warning from the very heart of the wilderness. From the shadows emerged the werewolf, a towering creature, its eyes glowing with an unnatural, piercing red hue. Its fur, a deep and ominous shade of black, bristled with a malevolent energy. The villagers, filled with a mix of terror and determination, held their ground, raising their weapons, ready to confront the creature that had terrorized their village. The werewolf, sensing the village's intent, lunged forward with startling speed and ferocity. Its massive form moved with a sinister grace, evading their attacks effortlessly. Each attempt to strike the creature was met with a counterattack that left the villagers reeling. The werewolf's strength and speed were beyond anything they had imagined, and the realization that they were facing a force more formidable than they could handle began to sink in. One by one, the villagers fell to the ground, their weapons useless against the supernatural might of the werewolf. The forest, once a place of beauty and solace, now bore witness to a tragic battle, a desperate struggle for survival that seemed to have no end. In the end, the village square was left empty, echoing only with the distant howls of the creature that had claimed the lives of those who sought to vanquish it. The moon hung high in the sky, casting an eerie glow upon the scene, a haunting reminder of the tragedy that had unfolded. The village, forever scarred by the events of that fateful night, would never forget the bravery of those who had tried to protect them. The werewolf, now a legend, intertwined with the very fabric of the village's history, continued to roam the wilds, a dark and mysterious figure that would forever be a part of Romania's folklore, a chilling reminder of the dangers that lurk in the shadows. In the small village nestled deep within the rugged Romanian countryside, the shadow of fear persisted, but now it harbored a sinister twist. The werewolf, the very creature that had struck terror into the hearts of the villagers, was not an external threat, but one from within their own community. The realization sent shockwaves through the village, shattering the trust they once had in their spiritual leader, the priest. As the villagers began to put together the pieces of this horrifying puzzle, they couldn't ignore the eerie coincidences. Werewolf attacks often occurred during or right after the priest's sermons and spiritual gatherings. The trust they had placed in him had been cruelly manipulated, and their sense of betrayal fueled their determination to confront and eliminate this monstrous menace. With a newfound clarity and a grim sense of purpose, the villagers regrouped, armed not only with their makeshift weapons, but also with the knowledge of the creature's true identity. They gathered in the village square, torches burning bright against the night, ready to confront the werewolf that had deceived them for so long. The forest loomed before them, an enigmatic abyss of darkness that concealed the secrets they were about to unveil. Their footsteps echoed, each one carrying a resolute spirit as they ventured into the night, guided by the moon's silver glow. Whispers of determination floated through the air, mingling with the echoes of the priest's sermons that once held them together. The werewolf, aware of the village's intentions, lurked nearby, hidden in the shadows, watching as they drew near. When the villagers entered the heart of the forest, the creature revealed itself. This time, there was no vicious attack. Instead, the werewolf stood before them, its eyes betraying a sense of sorrow and remorse. The priest, now transformed into a monstrous being, had a confession to make. He revealed that he had been cursed, burdened with the insatiable hunger for human flesh that had led him to commit the heinous acts that had terrorized the village. The guilt had gnawed at him. Knowing he was responsible for the suffering and loss the villagers had endured. The villagers, a mix of anger, grief, and pity, listened to the priest's tale. They understood that he was a victim of a curse beyond his control. However, they also knew that they couldn't allow the werewolf to continue its reign of terror. As much as they sympathized with the priest's plight, the safety of the village and their loved ones came first. With a heavy heart, the villagers engaged in a tense negotiation. They pleaded with the werewolf, asking for its cooperation in ending the cycle of violence. The creature, understanding the gravity of its actions, agreed to be confined to ensure that it would no longer pose a threat to the village. Using chains and ropes, they bound the werewolf in the forest, far away from the village. The once respected priest was now imprisoned, a prisoner of his own curse. The villagers left the creature with food, water, and provisions, showing a glimmer of compassion, even in the face of the horrors they had faced. As the villagers returned to the village square, they carried with them the weight of their ordeal, a bittersweet victory over a menace that had struck close to home. The werewolf's tale became a somber part of the village's history, a cautionary reminder of the dangers that existed within and without. The village, having faced its darkest hour, began the slow process of healing. They mourned the lost lives, including those of friends and family, while also grappling with the unsettling knowledge that their own priest had become the very creature they had feared. The story of the werewolf would forever be etched into the village's collective memory, a chilling reminder of the complex and often enigmatic nature of humanity and the forces that can turn even the most trusted figures into something unrecognizable. The village would rebuild, stronger and more resilient, with a newfound unity born from the shadows they had conquered. The village, though burdened by the weight of recent events, was no stranger to adversity. Their resilience shone through as they worked together to heal the wounds left by the werewolf's reign of terror. The sense of betrayal from their own priest, however, lingered like a dark cloud, casting a shadow over their trust. As the weeks passed, the village underwent a transformation, rebuilding not just the physical damage, but also the emotional scars left by the werewolf's actions. The villagers held gatherings, sharing their stories and supporting one another through the trauma they had endured. The bonds that had once been severed by fear now grew stronger as they faced their collective nightmare head-on. Though the werewolf was bound and imprisoned deep within the forest, the villagers couldn't ignore the ongoing threat it posed. The moon's phases brought with them a sense of dread, a constant reminder that the creature, even in confinement, was still a danger to their village. They knew they couldn't keep the werewolf restrained forever, and a permanent solution was needed. A council of the village's wisest and most skilled individuals was convened, seeking a way to break the curse that had transformed their beloved priest into a monster. They studied ancient texts, legends of curses, and stories of creatures that walked the thin line between man and beast. It was during these deliberations that they uncovered a glimmer of hope, a ritual that, if performed correctly, could lift the curse and restore the priest to his human form. The villagers understood the stakes were high, but they believed in the redemption of their priest. Armed with newfound knowledge, they prepared for the ritual. An altar was erected, and the villagers gathered under the moonlit sky, their hearts heavy with both trepidation and hope. The air was charged with an air of expectancy as they chanted the ancient incantations, their voices carrying their collective longing for peace. As the ritual reached its climax, a brilliant flash of light illuminated the forest. The werewolf, imprisoned and bound, let out a heart-wrenching howl, echoing the pain it had endured. The transformation began as the creature's monstrous form contorted, writhing in agony. In that moment, it was as if the very essence of the curse was being torn away. Finally, as the moon hung high in the sky, the priest emerged from the shadows, his human form restored. Weak and exhausted, he fell to his knees, tears streaming down his face. The villagers, a mix of relief and forgiveness, surrounded him, offering their support and compassion. They knew that the man before them had faced unimaginable horrors, and they were determined to help him reintegrate into their community. The priest, humbled by the forgiveness he had received, vowed to dedicate the rest of his life to protecting the village, atoning for the sins he had unknowingly committed. As the werewolf, his redemption became a symbol of the village's resilience, their ability to face darkness head-on and emerge stronger than before. The village continued to heal, slowly but surely. The priest, once a figure of authority, became a humble servant, working tirelessly to rebuild trust and facilitate the emotional recovery of the villagers. Together, they confronted the scars of their past, ensuring that the horrors they had endured would not be forgotten, but rather serve as a reminder of the strength they had found within themselves, and their unity as a community. As years passed, the legend of the werewolf and the redemption of the priest became intertwined in the village's folklore. The tale was passed down through generations, a cautionary reminder of the unpredictable forces that could test their bonds. The village, having faced their darkest hour and emerged triumphant, continued to live in harmony with the forest, cherishing both its beauty and the lessons it had taught them. The werewolf story was one of tragedy and hope, a testament to the indomitable spirit of the villagers and the transformative power of forgiveness. The village, united by their shared past, would move forward with a newfound appreciation for life, love, and the ability to confront even the most fearsome challenges, armed with the strength of their community and the knowledge that they were capable of conquering the darkest of nights.